Meet the R1, Howl's new fire pit that launched this morning and is available right now. It is the compact little brother to the larger Howl R4, which I have had on every trip since its launch in like late 2023, early 2024. The R1 addresses many of the criticisms I regularly get about my R4, primarily the price. Where the R4 is $1,300 before shipping, this little R1 is only $350. The R1 also addresses size, fuel consumption, and folding legs. There is a lot to unpack with this packable fire pit, so let's jump into it. The R1 is $100 more expensive than the Ignik Elite and is priced the same as the Firecan Helka and the same as the Tempo Tusk fire pit. However, unlike those and other compact portable propane fire pits, the R1 doesn't look like it can be made in your garage from Army surplus supplies. The R1 is precision manufactured and engineered to be efficient and effective. This laser-specific design gives us the world's most portable and longest lasting big flame fire pit. The R1 feels well built. And the construction is as solid as anything that you would expect from the Howl team. After spending some time with this little guy, I'm still surprised that it's, $350. I expected it to be nearly $800 considering that it is 2/3 the heat output of the R4. This is 800 degrees Fahrenheit, and the R4 is 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. As for construction, the folding legs don't feel flimsy at all, which was my initial fear when seeing pictures of this. And it's honestly why I'm talking about them first. The R1 is so small that the span of the legs right here isn't anything to make that construction flimsy. So they're sturdy. I thought they would be kind of dainty, to be honest, but they aren't. Like the Howl R4, the Howl R1 has been tested by third-party labs and certified to international safety standards. The first time that you use this, you will just feel how secure it is, how planted it is to the ground. It doesn't feel like it's going to just willy-nilly tip over like some of the ammo can fire pits that I've used. The R1 really is a professionally manufactured experience, while some big flame fire pits can feel, we'll just say it, a little janky, and then they become tippable flamethrowers. The R1, it's sturdy. And honestly, I don't feel like it's going anywhere. The control panel knob, it doesn't click or stick at all. It's as smooth as those found on the R4, and I assume it's likely made of the exact same parts. It's just everything you expect from a Howl product. Man, it feels good, doesn't it? I just realized my serial number is 007. That feels special. All right, on the other side, a little Andy, I guess, for us. Over here on the other side, the inlet port is a quick disconnect like the R4. However, rather than being on the bottom, it's just here on the opposite side. The hose is included. It is also a quick disconnect. Plugs in, well, nice and easy, just like that. Hey, I'm out of focus. It's all right. You're here to see the Howl anyway. Right? Maybe you can see me. Hi, I'm back. Whatever. I like that it also has a little cap on there. Just stop dirt and junk getting in there. The handle. It's sturdy and it's got this double wrap of material so that it's not sharp. Like as I kind of grab it around some of the areas that it's not intended to be grabbed as I'm manhandling it here. It could probably, it's not going to. It's been deburred pretty well actually, but it's just more comfortable here. Let's put it that way. It's rounded out. It's easy to grab. However, it isn't completely danger-free as is indicated by this large font because the handle, it will get hot during use. Even today while I was playing with it, the wind was blowing the direction of the handle. So I was very cautious not to grab this right away and start moving it around. And just do the same, make sure it's cool before you reach down and grab this unless you want a tattoo of hot on your hand. As far as specifications, the Howl R1 is 13.275 inches long, 8.43 inches wide, and 6.05 inches tall when it is closed up, and that is why it fits perfectly in a Step 22 Stingray flat box. Quite nice. The Step 22 bag, it's not included with the Howl, but I have found that it works great to hold it along with the hose. It kind of tucks all in there. Isn't that nice? I think that's super rad. This is my preferred way to pack it, and I went with a Stingray HD just for those stronger textiles on the bag. Now, I already had one of these lying around, so it was pretty easy for me. But if you do want to do this with your Howl R1, I've linked all of them in the description there for you. But big thing, just make sure it's cool before you put it in the bag. Last thing you want to do is melt your expensive bag to your not so expensive fire pit. I mean, 350 bucks isn't anything to blink at, but compared to an R4, yeah. Now, if you're packing it in your truck bed, or if you have tie downs in the back of your SUV, you can strap this to a propane tank the same way you would with an R4. There are these little belt loops here. So you can run something like a roller cam strap, which is what I would recommend, right through here. Da-da-da. And then strap the whole thing down, because there are also, so if you put it handle down when you store it, there are also some tie-down belt loops, we'll call them, right up there. So this prevents your propane tank from becoming a flame-throwing projectile, and it all packs away nicely. Pretty good. And then you can strap it down. Like I said, though, for what I'm using it for, I like to throw it in the back seat, just have it in a Step 22 bag. Works really, really well, actually. Oh, when you do have your propane tank against it, there are these little rubber feet to protect your propane tank. Super nice. They just rest against that, and then you cinch everything down, and as they say, Bob is your uncle. When open, the R1 is slightly longer at 14.3 inches and taller at just under 8 inches, wouldn't you know it? But it retains the same width, 8.43 inches, and it weighs 11 pounds. So you will barely notice that this thing is with you, especially because, you know, we're vehicle-based adventure. I guess if you're backpacking with this in a tank, you're a wild person, but you do you, boo. So how does it work? The R1 has inherited a similar A-flame panel from the larger R4 as its heat source, although the R1 has omitted any source similar to the Barcoal. So if you are looking for that perfect infrared heat that simulates a traditional campfire, well, then the larger R4 is what you're looking for. This is definitely a propane fire, if that makes sense. You're not getting that radiant heat that the R4 puts off. That said, 800 degrees is nothing to bat an eye at. It is definitely warm, and the high flame is comfortable. I like it. It's actually pretty darn neat. Okay, so underneath these 12 circles, the R1 has an array of 160 precision micro emitters that ensure that the fuel and the air are mixing just perfectly. And these emitters are paired with an infinitely adjustable valve, so you get exactly the fire you want, from that low burn to the belt high flames. Unlike ammo can style fire pits, the fire of the R1 sits right on top. There's nothing buried in a bucket or a bowl or anything like that. So this raised element brings the fire closer to you, and it leaves the ground cool around the fire pit while you're using it. It also requires less fuel to operate because the heat of the fire is, well, it's just right here. It's not tucked away. You're not forced to burn a richer mixture to get the fire out of a can. It's just sitting right on top. And when you're out in the sticks, an efficient burn is, well, it's pretty important. Not to mention, no need for those soot-covered ceramic stones to hold the heat. You get all of the heat directly from the source. Now, about these 12 circles that are on top, these are one of my favorite things about the Howl products, because this is their attention to detail in physics. It's really cool. So it's called a flex dome windscreen. So as the R1 and the R4 heat up, the alloy here warps, and it creates a bit of a dome. And that is the wind protection for the micro emitters that are underneath. And that's why the flame can be right on top and doesn't have to be buried in a bucket, because they're using, well, the chemistry and the physics and all of the magic of heat meeting metal to create the windscreen for you. I gotta say, you're not getting that out of an ammo can. Just, these guys really thought it through. That's what I love about this. Okay, let's recap a little bit and touch on the positives. I have to say that digging into the positives is easy. The R1 is overbuilt and precision engineered to be efficient and economical. The heat is genuinely heat, not just camp light masquerading as a campfire. It is legal to use in both Stage 1 and Stage 2 burn bans, making it the perfect summer camping companion. And it is small enough to store in anything that is roughly the size of a shoebox. I guess the last thing, it is compact and it does integrate well with a propane tank. What about negatives? Truthfully, I think that there are very few, but there are some. The first, the R1, like the R4, doesn't have an integrated ignition. So it does require an external source like a lighter, a match, or a ferro rod to light it, which I understand the design choice. I don't know if the choice is the right word, but it's more of the design ethos to make this still feel like you're starting a fire, like a campfire, right? You strike your fire, you take a lighter to it, whatever. It is also another part that could fail, so removing that from the equation means you'll get something that will last longer. I understand that. However, how hard could it be to replace the ignition if it does fail? I don't know. So from my point of view, it would be nice if there was just a simple, click electric ignition to generate that spark. That for me would probably be the biggest negative. My second gripe, which is, again, it's minor and frankly petty considering how much I really do like the R1. It's that this roller cam strap, it isn't included with it. So where they're advertising how nice it is to store it with a propane tank, you have to go out and get your own roller cam strap. It's not the end of the world. These are like $10. And I'll link them below for us as well. But it would be nice if it came with them. That said, I have figured out that I do prefer to carry this in a Step 22 bag. So if they did send it with a roller cam, I would have gone neat and just tossed it. Again, kind of petty. And my final negative is that you can't cook on it. While I have never wanted to or had the desire to cook on my larger R4, and I frankly don't plan to cook on the R1, it would have made it more competitive. The fire can, you can cook on that. And I know that while I've used my R4, that is one of the number one questions I get about it. Can you cook on it? Because of the Flex Dome, it's not a flat surface. So if you did want to cook on or over this, you would need a separate little griddle or grate or something to go over the top. My biggest fear is all of these precision engineered pieces in here, I would hate to fill with grease or anything like that and cause problems down the road. So truthfully, I don't think it's intended to be cooked over, and I understand their design decision there. So it would be cool to see if there was an additional part to let it work. All right. Okay. All in, I honestly think that the Howl R1 is worth the asking price. Honestly, I think it's worth a little bit more than the asking price. So if you're ready to part with $350 to have a smoke-free, precision-engineered propane campfire experience, I think that you will love it on your next camping trip, especially if you've been dreaming of the R4, but you can't come to terms with that price, or if you have investigated the ammo can fire pits and you can't commit to a DIY-looking system. This is what you're looking for. Honest opinion, it's pretty slick. They did a good job. But what did you expect? It's Howl. These guys they're changing the game. And I hate to say that. Game changing? Oh, is that like the worst word in the Overland YouTuber universe? They didn't change the game. They're playing a different one. I don't know. I'll stop. All right. That does it for me. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you have a question, leave me a comment. And if you want to hang out again, well, make sure to subscribe. Until next time, I'm Justin B. McBride.